Welcome to Stories Junction. Let's begin today's story. I met Sarah at a neighbor's cookout in early June. Her laugh was warm, cutting through the chatter, and she didn't shy away from debating the best movie soundtracks. We weren't love at first sight material, but there was a spark, a rhythm that felt easy. By August, we were dating, taking it slow. Then, in November, she told me she was pregnant. It was a gut punch. We'd only been together a few months, and kids weren't on the radar. But there it was, twins, a boy and a girl, confirmed by the ultrasound. We weren't reckless, just caught in life's unpredictability. We chose to stick together, to build something real for the kids. I proposed over a quiet coffee shop breakfast. No grand gestures, just a ring and a question. She said yes with a small nod, her eyes steady. We tied the knot at the courthouse before the twins, Oliver and Ava, arrived and settled into a modest two-bedroom apartment in a quiet part of Riverside. The first months with newborns were chaos, sleepless nights, endless diapers, and arguments fueled by exhaustion. I come home from my warehouse job to find Sarah staring at the ceiling, Oliver fussing, Ava wailing. I try to step up to listen, to ease the load, but it was like bailing out a sinking boat with a teaspoon. One evening, Sarah sat me down on our worn-out couch. "James, I can't keep doing this," she said, her voice flat. I froze. I need to find something real, something more than this. I swallowed hard. "The twins are barely 6 months old, Sarah." She looked away. "Staying for them isn't enough. I'm losing myself." 2 weeks later, she packed a duffel bag, a few boxes, and left. She didn't take the twins, just walked out, leaving me with 2 infants and a silence that screamed. We divorced quietly, agreeing to shared custody down the line, but for now, she was gone. No child support, no co-parenting plan, just me and the babies. I didn't crumble. I couldn't. My sister, Emma, moved in temporarily to help with night feeds while I worked. I found a daytime sitter, juggling paychecks to cover bottles, diapers, and rent. That first year was raw survival. Me learning to braid Ava's tiny curls, soothing Oliver's teething cries, and keeping the fridge stocked. Sarah called sometimes, asking about the twins in a detached way, like she was checking on distant cousins. "They're growing fast," I'd say. "Ava's got 2 teeth. Oliver's crawling." She'd murmur, "That's nice," and hang up. By the time the twins turned 2, Sarah had a steady job in marketing and a new place across town in Crestwood. She wanted to be more involved. I agreed, for Oliver and Ava, not for her. Drop-offs were tense at first, the twins clinging to me, unsure of this woman who was supposed to be mom. But kids adapt. They always do. Our arrangement became functional, not friendly. Week on, week off, no drama. We split costs for clothes, school supplies, and birthdays evenly. It wasn't warm, but worked. Then Sarah met David. She mentioned him casually during a drop-off, over lukewarm coffee in her kitchen. "He's grounded kind, gets me," she said. I nodded, keeping my thoughts to myself. 6 months later, David moved in with her, bringing his 2 kids, Mia and Jacob, close in age to the twins. Sarah beamed when she told me. "They're like siblings already. It's like it was meant to be." I kept my distance. Her life, her choices. But I had a feeling it wouldn't stay that simple. The first sign came during a rushed phone call. "James, David's stuck at work, and I've got a late meeting. Can you grab Mia and Jacob when you pick up the twins?" I hesitated. "Your kids or his?" She sighed. "They're all our kids now, James. They see each other as family." I didn't argue, just picked them up. Mia and Ava giggled in the back seat, and for a moment it felt okay. But the next time, Sarah didn't ask. She texted, "Don't forget Mia and Jacob when you get the twins." I called her out. "This isn't a one-time favor anymore. You're making it my job." She pushed back. "They see you as family, James. Why draw lines?" I held firm. "I'm their dad, not David's backup." She didn't like it, but she backed off. For now. The real test was coming, though, and I could feel it brewing like a storm on the horizon. Sarah's new life was starting to lean on me, and I wasn't sure how long I could hold the line without it costing me, or the twins, something bigger. The tension with Sarah simmered, but life with Oliver and Ava kept me grounded. They were 3 now, full of energy, their personalities blooming. Ava loved stacking blocks into wobbly towers, giggling when they crashed. Oliver was quieter, always clutching a toy truck, narrating its adventures in whispers. My weeks with them were hectic but solid. Breakfasts of scrambled eggs, park trips, and bedtime stories. I wasn't perfect, but I was present. Sarah's weeks were a mystery to me, though the twins came back happy, if a bit clingy at drop-offs. Then came Mia's birthday. Sarah texted me a week before. "Can you get something nice for Mia from you and Ava?" It'd mean a lot to her. I stared at the message, feeling the familiar tug of her testing boundaries. "She's not my kid," I replied. "I'll help Ava pick something small if she wants." Sarah's response was sharp. "You're okay teaching Ava that love stops at family lines?" I didn't bite. Instead, I took Ava to the dollar store, where she picked out a sparkly bracelet for Mia. It was enough for Ava to feel kind, but I wasn't playing Sarah's game. A month later, the bigger ask landed. It was a crisp April evening, and we were at a drop-off. The twins ran inside Sarah's place, leaving us by my truck. She lingered, hands in her pockets. "David and I are planning a family trip," she said. "A week at that lake resort in Pineview." I nodded. "Sounds fun." She shifted her weight. "It's pricey, so we thought, since Oliver and Ava are going, you could chip in." I raised an eyebrow. "You need help paying for your kids' vacation?" She shook her head. "It's about fairness, James. Mia and Jacob will notice if Oliver and Ava get something they don't." I took a breath, keeping my voice even. "I'll cover Oliver and Ava, no problem. But you're asking me to fund a trip for your new family, so everyone feels equal. That's not on me." Her eyes narrowed. "We're raising these kids together." "No," I cut in. "You chose David. You chose this family. I'm not bankrolling a vacation for a household I'm not part of." She crossed her arms. "You're drawing lines again. You left me with 2 babies to find real love," I said, my tone firm. "You found it. Don't ask me to pay when it gets tight." She flinched, then walked back to her house without another word. 2 days later, David showed up at my apartment. "Just want to talk," he said, standing in my doorway. I leaned against the frame. "Make it quick." He rubbed his neck. "You're making things tough, man. We're trying to build a family here." "You're building it," I said. "Not me." He frowned. "We thought you'd be more cooperative." I didn't budge. "You picked the wrong guy to lean on." He left, jaw tight, and I shut the door, feeling the weight of their expectations piling up. The pressure didn't stop. Sarah's brother, Tom, texted me a week later, "Hey, James, I know things are weird, but you're a big part of the kids' lives. All the kids. They look up to you." I didn't respond. Then her mom, Diane, called. "James, I've always liked you," she started, her voice soft. "But this rift with Sarah, it's confusing the kids. They don't get why Oliver and Ava are treated differently." I kept my cool. "They're my kids, Diane. They get my support because I'm their dad." She sighed. "A good man steps up, even when it's hard." I ended the call, her words stinging. Not because they were true, but because they were meant to twist the knife. The next blow came at the twins' preschool fundraiser. Oliver and Ava were selling raffle tickets for a weekend trip to a nearby zoo and water park. We went door to door in our neighborhood, the twins charming everyone with their shy smiles. They hit the goal in a week, earning their spots. Oliver was ecstatic, clutching his ticket like a trophy. "We're going, Dad," he shouted. But I knew what was coming. Sarah texted that night. "The twins made the trip list, but Mia and Jacob didn't. They're upset. Can you help cover their tickets? Just to keep things fair." I didn't reply. The next day, she followed up, "James, you want Oliver and Ava to feel separate from their siblings?" I shot back. "Not my responsibility." Her reply was instant. "If you're going to be like this, maybe we need to rethink custody." My blood ran cold. It wasn't just a request anymore. It was a threat. I didn't respond. Instead, I called my lawyer, Rachel, who'd handled our divorce. I laid it all out. Sarah's demands, the texts, the family piling on. "Has she filed anything?" Rachel asked. "Not yet," I said. "Just noise." Rachel was calm. "You've got a solid record, James. She left the twins as infants, never paid support, and you've documented everything. If she wants a push, we're ready." I exhaled, feeling a flicker of control. But the stakes were rising, and I could sense Sarah wasn't done. The twins' trip was weeks away, and I had a feeling her next move would test me in ways I wasn't prepared for. Sarah's custody threat hung over me like a storm cloud, but I kept my focus on Oliver and Ava. They were oblivious to the tension, chattering about the zoo trip and what animals they'd see. I wasn't about to let Sarah's games steal their excitement. Rachel, my lawyer, suggested mediation to head off any legal moves. "Show up, stay calm, make your stance clear," she said. I agreed, not because I wanted to talk, but because I needed to protect my kids. The mediation session was set for a neutral office in downtown Riverside. I walked in alone, carrying a folder of printed texts, emails, and notes. Every request, every push from Sarah and her family, dated and organized. Sarah arrived with David, their faces tight. The mediator, a woman named Claire, started with gentle buzzwords: co-parenting harmony, sibling unity, emotional balance. I let her finish, then spoke plainly. "I'm here for Oliver and Ava. I support them fully, always. But I'm not a stepfather to David's kids, not a bank for their family, not a fix for their choices." Sarah leaned forward, her voice soft but pointed. "James, the kids see each other as siblings. You're splitting them into separate worlds." I didn't flinch. "They are in separate worlds, Sarah. You made that call when you left us and built a new family. I'm not parenting Mia and Jacob. That's on you and David." David shifted in his seat, finally speaking. "This isn't about money, James. It's about principle." I met his eyes. "Then why are your principles always tied to my wallet?" He had no answer. I slid my folder across the table, open to a timeline of Sarah's requests. The birthday gift, the vacation, the fundraiser tickets, her family's messages. "I'm not cold," I said. "I'm clear. There's a difference." Claire nodded, skimming the pages. Sarah stared at the table, silent. David's jaw twitched, but he didn't push back. The session ended with no resolution, just an agreement to keep communication open. As we left, Sarah avoided my eyes, and David trailed behind her. The silence felt like a stalemate, not a victory. Back home, I sat the twins down before the zoo trip. "You earned this," I told them, ruffling Oliver's hair. "Be proud. You don't owe anyone an apology for having fun." Ava tilted her head. Mia was sad. "She's not going." I nodded. "I know, kiddo, but you're not in charge of her house. Just enjoy your trip." Oliver squinted, processing. "Are you mad at Mom?" I kept it light. "I'm not mad. I'm just making sure you two have what you need." They seemed satisfied, but I knew they sensed the undercurrent. The morning of the trip, I dropped them at the preschool, their backpacks bouncing as they ran to join their friends. Ava turned back, waving wildly. "Love you, Daddy." Oliver just grinned, cool as ever. I lingered in the parking lot, not out of worry, but because it felt good to see them so free. For a moment, I thought we'd cleared the worst of it. Then, a week after the trip, Sarah texted, "Can we talk?" "No drama, just us." I agreed, curious but wary. We met at a cafe near her office in Crestwood. She looked worn, her usual confidence dulled. "I don't agree with how you're handling this," she started, stirring her coffee. "But I get it now. I was trying to make everything equal for the kids, but I see I was asking you to carry my load." I nodded, waiting. She sighed. "It's easier to push you than admit David and I are struggling to keep this family together." "That's not my problem," I said, not unkindly. She gave a tired smile. "I know. You've been a lot early on. I didn't see it until you stopped." It wasn't an apology, but it was close enough, an acknowledgement that we'd been fighting different battles. She stood to leave. "I respect you for holding your ground," she said, then walked out. I sat there, sipping my coffee, feeling the weight lift slightly, but not entirely. A few days later, the ground shifted again. It was my week to pick up the twins from Sarah's. I pulled up, expecting her usual quick handoff, but David was there instead. "Sarah's under the weather," he muttered, handing over the twins' bags. "She'll reach out soon." The kids piled into the car, chattering about their day, but I caught David's tired eyes. Something was off. 3 days later, Sarah texted, "David and I are taking a break. He moved out for now, took Mia and Jacob. Kids are fine, just figuring things out." I didn't reply. The twins didn't mention it at first, but Ava slipped it out over dinner. "Mom's house is quieter now. Mia, and Jacob aren't there. I nodded, keeping it neutral. How's that feel? She shrugged. Kinda nice. But I miss me as dolls. Oliver piped up. I like it better when it's just us at Mom's. I smiled. That's okay. You get to enjoy your time. The pieces started falling together through snippets I heard around town. Sarah and David's blended family had cracks, money fights, parenting clashes, the usual. She tried to glue it all together, leaning on me to fill the gaps, but it wasn't enough. Now, with David gone, I wondered what she'd do next. Would she double down, try to pull me back into her orbit? Or had she finally learned where the line was? The twins were fine, but I knew kids pick up more than they say. I kept our routine tight, school, park, bedtime stories to give them stability. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah's next move was coming, and it might pull us all into deeper waters. With David and his kids gone, my weeks with Oliver and Ava felt steadier, like the air had cleared. They didn't talk much about Sarah's place, just dropped little hints. Ava mentioning how Mom's house is boring now. Oliver saying he liked having his toys to himself. I didn't pry. Kids process in their own time, and I wasn't about to stir up questions they weren't ready to ask. Our routine held strong. Pancake mornings, playground afternoons, and bedtime stories where I did silly voices to make them laugh. But I knew Sarah's silence wouldn't last. A month after her split with David, she called. James, can we meet? I need to talk about the twins. Her voice was calm, not the usual edge. We met at the same Crestwood Cafe, neutral ground. She looked drained, her eyes shadowed. I've been thinking, she started, picking at a napkin. I messed up, leaning on you to fix my life. I'm sorry. It was the first real apology she'd ever offered. I nodded, waiting. David's gone for good, she continued. It wasn't working. Money, parenting, all of it. I tried to make us one big family, but it fell apart. I'm sorry it didn't work out, I said, meaning it for the twins' sake. She sighed. I'm trying to rebuild, focus on Oliver and Ava. But I need your help. Not money, just consistency. Can we keep the custody schedule tight? They need it. I agreed, surprised but cautious. We've been solid on that. Let's keep it that way. She nodded, almost relieved. Thanks, James, for not making this harder. I didn't say much else. Words are cheap. I'd wait to see her actions. For a while, things were smooth. Drop-offs were quick, no lingering requests. Sarah showed up to the twins' preschool events, cheering at their art show, bringing snacks for their class party. Oliver and Ava started talking about her more. Ava showing off a new hair clip Sarah bought. Oliver mentioning a trip to the aquarium. Wasn't perfect, but it felt like progress. I let myself hope we'd found a rhythm. Then came the spring fair at school. The twins were selling homemade bracelets to fund a class camping trip. We spent evenings stringing beads, Ava picking bright pinks, Oliver sticking to blues. They sold enough to earn their spots, beaming when I taped their tickets to the fridge. We're going to see stars, Dad. Ava squealed. I grinned, proud of their hustle. But that night, Sarah texted, the twins made the camping list, but I heard some kids didn't. It's tough on them. Could you help cover a couple spots? Not for me, for the class. I stared at the message, the familiar push creeping back. This wasn't about Mia or Jacob this time, but it was the same pattern, Sarah framing her ask as fairness for others. I replied, I'm covering Oliver and Ava. That's my role. The school's got programs for kids who need help. Her response was quick. It's not about money, James. It's about community. I didn't answer. She was testing the fence again, seeing if I'd bend. A week later, she brought it up at a drop-off. The twins were inside, and she leaned against my truck. I wasn't trying to push you, she said. I just thought you want to help the kids' friends. I kept my tone even. I do help my kids. You know where my line is. She frowned. You're so rigid. It's not about us anymore. It's about their world. Their world is fine, I said. I'll make sure of that. Don't ask me to parent the whole classroom. She backed off, but her expression said she wasn't done. The pressure ramped up subtly. The twins' teacher, Ms. Carter, called me after school. James, I heard you're not contributing to the class fund for the camping trip. Sarah mentioned you might reconsider. I clenched my jaw. I'm covering my kids. Sarah doesn't speak for me. Ms. Carter apologized, flustered. I didn't mean to overstep. Sarah just seemed concerned about inclusivity. I thanked her and hung up, fuming. Sarah wasn't just pushing me. She was looping in others to nudge the line. I called Rachel again, updating her on the texts and the teacher's call. She's building a narrative, Rachel warned. Painting you as the bad guy to leverage guilt. Keep documenting. I did, saving every message, every email. I wasn't paranoid, just prepared. The camping trip was 2 weeks away, and I could feel Sarah's next move brewing. Would she double down, maybe pull the custody card again? Or was she just flailing, try to rebuild her image after David's exit? The night before the trip, I sat with the twins, packing their bags. Oliver stuffed in his favorite truck. Ava added a stuffed owl. Will Mom be at the camp? Oliver asked. I shook my head. She's not on the volunteer list, buddy. But you'll have fun with your teachers and friends. Ava looked up. Is Mom sad because Mia's gone? I paused, choosing my words. Mom's figuring things out. You just focus on having a great time. They nodded, but I knew they felt the ripples of Sarah's unraveling. As I tucked them in, I wondered what Sarah's next play would be. She'd lost her perfect family, and now she was grasping at control. I wasn't fighting her. I was just holding my ground. But the tighter I held, the more I sensed something bigger was coming, something that could shake the fragile balance we'd built. The camping trip came and went, and Oliver and Ava returned buzzing with stories of marshmallow roasts and spotting deer at dawn. I listened, grinning, as they spilled every detail, their faces lit up like the stars they'd seen. For a moment, life felt simple, just me and my kids, no shadow of Sarah's latest push. But I knew better than to trust the quiet. She'd been too persistent, and her apology at the cafe hadn't erased the pattern of her testing my boundaries. A week later, the next wave hit. Sarah texted, James, I'm struggling. Can we adjust the custody schedule? I need more time with the twins to stabilize things. My gut tightened. This wasn't about bonding with Oliver and Ava. It was about her filling the void David left. I replied, we've got a system that works. Let's stick to it unless there's a real reason to change. She didn't push back immediately, but 2 days later, she called. I'm not trying to take them from you, she said, her voice shaky. I just need them more right now. I'm alone, James. I stayed firm. You're their mom, not their fix. The schedule stays. Her silence on the line spoke volumes. I braced for the next move, and it came at a parent-teacher conference. Ms. Carter pulled me aside after we reviewed the twins' progress. Sarah mentioned you're rethinking custody, she said, hesitant. I just want to make sure the kids are okay. I kept my cool. Sarah's mistaken. Nothing's changing. Ms. Carter nodded, embarrassed, and I realized Sarah was planting seeds again, trying to sway others to her side. I called Rachel that night, adding the incident to my growing file of texts and notes. She's escalating, Rachel said. If she files anything, we've got a paper trail that shows you're the steady one. The breaking point came at a drop-off a month later. The twins ran to Sarah's porch, backpacks swinging, but she lingered by my truck, her face drawn. James, I'm not okay, she admitted. I thought David was the real thing. Now it's just me, and I'm drowning. I keep asking you for help because I don't know what else to do. For the first time, I saw her not as the woman pushing my limits, but as someone lost in her own choices. I softened, but only slightly. Sarah, I get that you're hurting, but you can't keep pulling me into your mess. Focus on the twins, not on what you've lost. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I'm trying. I thought I could make it all work. I didn't respond. There was nothing to fix. That was on her. After that, the requests stopped. Drop-offs became mechanical, no lingering chats. Sarah showed up for the twin school play, clapping loudly when Ava took her bow as a tree, but she didn't approach me. The twins noticed the shift too. One night, Oliver asked, Is Mom mad at you? I shook my head. She's just figuring out her stuff, buddy. You two are doing great, and that's what counts. Ava piped up, I like when it's just us at your house, Daddy. I hugged them both, my chest tight. Months passed, and Sarah seemed to settle into her role as mom, not the architect of a grand family plan. She got a promotion at work, started taking the twins to weekend art classes. They'd come back with painted hands and stories of her laughing with them. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. I kept my guard up, but I didn't need to use it. My life stayed steady, Work, school runs, bedtime stories where Oliver now requested less silly voices, Dad. Ava still wanted the full performance. One evening, as I tucked them in, Ava looked up from her pillow. Daddy, are you happy? A pause, caught off guard. Yeah, kiddo. You and Oliver make me happy. She smiled, satisfied, and Oliver muttered, good, already half asleep. I stood in their doorway, watching them drift off, and realized I'd done what I set out to do. Keep their world solid, no matter what Sarah threw at me. Looking back, Sarah's search for real love had built a fragile dream. One she tried to prop up with my time, my money, my role. When it crumbled, she turned to me to patch the cracks, but I held my ground. Not out of spite, but because Oliver and Ava deserved a dad who showed them what it means to stand firm. I didn't fight for chaos or against Sarah. I fought for them. And in the end, that was enough.